Shalom and welcome to Practical Spirituality here in Nachlaot for Esha Torah in Yerushalayim, overlooking my courtyard, my beautiful courtyard. Okay, very good. Just get myself a little water. So yesterday's shir, we discussed, we got to Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu. Gidon, I asked everyone to turn on their cameras, otherwise just watch it somewhere else, because you're my audience and you're helping me stay connected to this whole experience, okay? So Pinchas Schwartz, turn on your camera, okay? You might hear me telling people to turn on their cameras. If you're not going to turn it on, don't take up the space, please. Go watch this somewhere else or some other time. Okay. Okay. So we did Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, and what we discussed yesterday, just to cap off yesterday, was that Elokeinu is our God, and Elokei Avosenu means the God of our fathers, and that's bearish camera on only on this thing, just so I can see you, please. It's all Hamish Yidden here, and Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, our God and the God of our fathers, and our God means the Emunah. And thank you. Our God means our emunah, meaning the emunah we got from, Elokei Avosenu is the emunah we got from our parents, and Elokeinu is our God that we got through our own life experience and growth throughout our lives. So, anyway, but that's what we're having in mind now. Now, when it comes to Shemos, which we were doing yesterday, so when it comes to Shemos, the Elokeinu is talking about how Hashem's immanent within space and time. So we said Baruch Atah Hashem, surrounding space and time. Elokeinu, filling space and time. V'Elokei Avosenu, and he was that for our fathers as well. So I just want to discuss that part regarding our fathers, because if we're talking about Shemos, because I gave the vort before about the just explaining that it's how God fills creation. So what does it mean how he fills creation for our fathers? Hey Rob, what's up? Just move my Facebook camera a little bit so I can see who's checking in. David Bars is on there. Very nice. So wow, I got a lot of people involved here. I got my Facebook feeds popping up with people as well at the same time. Anyway, so what does it mean our fathers? And here's a thing about bitachon here, is that our fathers, and I'm not saying necessarily your personal father, but it could be even your personal father. It could be your grandfather, great-grandfather, meaning they lived with the knowledge that Hashem fills creation. They didn't have the anxieties of our generation. They just didn't live that way. Things were simpler, slower. There was less of a fake confidence that we all get with our, constant kind of taking care of the amenities. Like if you think about technology, it hasn't made life simpler. It's just made us more effective. So we're incredibly effective. But that means full-time used to mean 9 to 5, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. People don't even know what that means anymore, 9 to 5. But it used to be called full-time working was 9 to 5. And so whatever was called 9 to 5 in the past is now like, forget about it. You're a bum if you work 9 to 5. Because it's not 9 to 5. Yo, Moshe in the car. So, Moshe Yitzchok. So it's not 9 to 5. It's mamish. Full time means full time, meaning you're available full time. You're available in the bathroom. You're available late at night. You're available when you wake up. I'm not going to ask you guys to raise your hands if you'll actually check out your phone before Negelblasser. But I'm hoping you don't. But it could be there's some who do. I'm sure some of you make a chiluk, like if you haven't woken up yet, hey muscle. If you haven't woken up yet, Drive carefully, please. Watch the road. Both my drivers, please watch the road. Anyway, but you probably make a chiluk. If you haven't gotten up yet since Alos, you wash your hands, and if you have gotten up since Alos, maybe you check your phone. Anyway, I don't know who Jeff is, but it's only cameras. We're doing cameras only, so I feel like I have an audience. You might be taking up someone's spot, whoever Jeff is. Jeff is probably Yirmiyahu or something. Oh, he took off altogether. Okay. So, anyway, but our fathers lived in a much slower world, in a much simpler world, and the level of anxiety that we experience, it's like they've made life more effective, but there's full anxiety. And look how this virus has just completely thrown it all to the garbage. Like all the stability we've been thinking we have, gone, like poof, from a microscopic organism has sent all status quo, gone. And the most powerful people in the world, and the most powerful countries in the world, and everyone is just losing it and doesn't know what to do, and whether it's the stock markets, and whether it's and whether it's medical, or whether it's business, or whether it's retail, or whether it's tourism, or whatever it is, it's all it's all landed on its head, poof, face plant, like they say in mountain biking for newbies who don't know how to fall. Everyone's just having a massive face plant right now, and everyone, meaning the people the world likes to turn to for stability is not getting much of that. Of course, all the rabbis are talking about bitachon. And where does bitachon come from? Where does it come from? It comes from knowing there's someone running the show. Listen, if no one's running the show, then what's going to be? If someone's running the show, then we're chill. And so and this virus, which is microscopic, is obviously etzbe Elokim, right? That's what we learned, that it's etzbe Elokim. And with the Pharaoh's Ariel, we're only doing with cameras, so I feel like there's people with me. Please turn on your camera. So etzbe Elokim is what Pharaoh's Khartoumim, his sorcerers, all said. It's the thank you, Ariel. It's the finger of God. Yeah, it's the finger of God, and we'll be saying that in Pesach in less than a month from now. Etzbe Elokim, that the 10 plagues are with an etzba, and therefore, the multiplications of the miracles of the sea. So they said, lice are too small for us. Lice are too small for us to for us to do our sorcery. It's just too small. We need more involved to do something, to do an act of magic, say the sorcerers. So meaning the tinier it is, the more you're supposed to realize it's God, not the bigger it is. And so here we're in something real tiny, and we got to realize that it's all from Hashem. Okay, here we go. Gidon, nice to see you, by the way. Okay, so let's keep cruising. Elokei Avraham. You can say that. Elokei Avraham is the God of our father Abraham. So what are we supposed to think there? So when we say the God of Abraham, now, by the way, these aren't separate gods. It's all one God, but it's different ways that God interacts. Because think about it. Who is God? We have no idea who God is. All we know is how God interacts with us. So we're going to mention the 3 main interactions now via the 3 avos. So again, we have no idea who God is. The only thing we can do regarding any understanding whatsoever of God is going to be how God interacts. And hey, David Hirsch. And the only way we're going to know how God interacts is how he interacts with us. Well, there's 3 major channels that God interacts with humanity. And they are called flow, structure, and then the balance between the 2, which is Abraham, Yitzchak, and the balance between the 2. Tell me on your cameras, is that right or left? Everyone's mics are off. Get on your mic's not off. Is that right, or is that your right, or is that your left? I don't know. Roy, shake your head nod your head if that's right for you. It is right for you? Oh, my volume's off, no wonder. Oh, there we go.
Well, everybody's unmuted.
Okay, everyone's muted. Okay, is that right or left for the people on the screen?
Left.
Oh, that was left? Okay, good.
Left.
Excellent. I'm good at switching things up for cameras. Okay, very good. So Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Is that better? Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Anyway, so the God of Avraham is the God of expansion, the God of flow. Even if you hear the word Avraham, you hear flow. Avraham. It's all like, it's all like total. By the way, it's Avraham. But Avraham is Av is a father. That's clearly his pashtus. That's the masculine expansion. Yeah? And it's all sounding, when I say it sounds expansive, just compare it to the word Yitzchak. Yitzchak is clearly contraction. Yitzchak. Yud is very yin. Yeah, it's a contraction. Tzadik is a contraction. And Ches is a contraction. And K is a contraction. So it's Avraham. The God of Avraham is the God of flow. And then Yitzchak is the God of contraction. And you'll notice with each of us, we all have a little bit of an Avraham and a Yitzchak and a Yaakov in us, but most people are either part of the Avraham flow people or the structure Yitzchak people. I happen to be extremely strong on the flow part of things. So, and you'll see Avraham was expansive. He's like, everything's about like going out and teaching the world about everything and like making pacts with people and traveling around. He's down in Egypt and he's got a 4-doored tent and stuff like that. Yitzchak's like, don't leave Israel, boy. Yeah, and then he gets in all kinds of trouble in Gerar with Avimelech and he's like, he's assertive, he's asserting himself. Yitzchak represents asserting. And he's he's also the one getting bound. Like, what does it mean to bind someone? It's ultimate, constriction. Ultimate constriction, and that's Yitzchak. And then Yaakov is the perfect balance between the two. You'll also notice that there's 40 generations of there's 20 generations before them, and there's a filtering process that takes place with Abraham. In the generation of Abraham, he had to marry. He couldn't do this with Sarah because Sarah is the word Sar means minister. It's a job, a minister. I'm talking about a minister of like government, a government minister. A Sar is a minister is someone who's gevuradik. That's a person whose job in the government is structure. What is government? Government is the structure of a country. And so Avram marries Sarah. He's Chesed, she's Gevura. Okay, she's Sarah, and he therefore couldn't have a child with her. He had to have a child with a Canaanite. Canaanites represent Chesed because they're just total free for all. Anyone who's on here, Andrew and Mindy, it's only with cameras on. Okay, turn your camera on if you're going to be on because you're my audience. You're keeping me alive here from just staring into a camera. Thank you very much. So the anyway the he had to marry a Canaanite lady. Canaanites were the ultimate in flow. Canaanites, just as nations, had no limitations. And in fact, it even says when the Jews were coming up from the desert that we shouldn't see it as our own merit that got us into the land of Israel, but rather it was both the promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and it was the fact that the Canaanites had so badly sinned in their improprieties, to put it mildly. If you're not saying anything, you can mute your mic so we don't hear background. I think some of you are interrupting the video a little bit with your mic. So mute your mics, and Andrew and Mindy, turn on your phones or get out. No offense, but you know what? I'll tell you the truth. You can stay in until more people join. But if more people join, I don't want people with cameras off on this. And by the way, all you guys with cameras on, you should know you're keeping me alive here. Kyle, you keep me going. Okay? And Shia, it's good. So, all right. That goes for all you guys, but I don't have to mention you by name every second. Plus, you get it. Yeah. So, okay. Now, he had to marry a Canaanite in order to have Yishmael. Yishmael is more of that pure chesed. Yishmael. It's got that sound again, of that flow sound. And God will hear me. Like, even if I'm the biggest loser in the world, God will hear me. If I'm the biggest sinner in the world, God will hear me. He'll forgive me. It's chesed and flow the whole way through, yeah? But who's Yishmael? Yishmael is actually a filtering system. The birth of Yishmael was the filtering out of 20 generations of unbridled chesed, unbridled flow. 20 generations of unbridled flow. Galaxy, only with cameras on, please. Whoever's got the Galaxy S10. Okay? Galaxy S10, cameras on, please. So, unless you're driving or something. But there are people driving who are watching. Anyway, it filtered out 20 generations. Now, you'll notice something amazing is that people who are from the Arabic nomadic, notice they're nomadic tribes, the Arab nomadic tribes, which are the children of Abraham, they don't set up camp, man. They're just nomads. And Arabs actually were nomadic all the time. Today we call them nomadic. The nomadic leftovers are called Bedouins. But they were all nomadic throughout their history. They were always nomadic people, until Islam came along. Islam came along, so now you got the Gevurah aspect, because now you're setting up religion, and religion generally gets ruled by, much to our painful awareness that religion often gets ruled by structured people. Structured people, which are, strict structure, those types, which tend to run religion into the ground. So that's why, by the way, that the mystical tradition will never be institutionalized. It'll never happen. Okay? Anyone who's tried to institutionalize true spirituality will fail. And that's a blessing from God, so that it stays private. It stays between you and God. And it's always between you and God. Spirituality. And there's been once in a while, there's institutions that did it, but meet the next generation, they're not the most spiritual people you ever met. Yeah, what happens is they institutionalize the actual spiritual practices, which is a great way to kill them. Okay? Just, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, just go do Mincha Mariv today, and you'll see what I'm talking about. By the way, when you do Mincha Mariv, since you watched this, when you go do Mincha Mariv, you get there a little early and you breathe and you get yourself prepared and you do it with patience and do it for real, so you're not just another victim of institutionalized spirituality. Okay? By the way, there's a lot to be said for Mincha Mariv, though even institutionalized, because it's a job we do as Jews to draw in those the divine effulgence into the mineral, vegetable, plant, animal, Gentile, Jewish, and spiritual realms. Now, anyway, but that was the filter for Abraham, was Yishmael, and then there could be Yitzchak. Yitzchak's pure Gevurah. And Yitzchak marries Rivka. Who's Rivka? She's like the water girl. Chesed. She's like, let me get you and your camels some water, which is flow. And so Yitzchak has to marry, Gevurah has to marry Chesed. He has to marry, Miss Flo, who's Rivka. Let me take care of everything. Everything's all right. And they have to have their firstborn has to be Mr. Gevurah himself, Esav. Yeah, they have to have Esav, and a lot of you are living in a lot of you are listening to me from the United States of Esav right now. So that is Europeans and ultimate systemization and like mechanized and look at Europe, and like look at the Arabs today. Like they when they want to make a war, they're like lobbing bombs like randomly. Another rocket lands in open space in southern Israel. It's like, you ever heard of aiming? And meanwhile, Europe's got like their bombs switch directions. It's like they've got whatever they're going after. It's been tracked from when they shot the thing. So however it moves with it. It's like everything's structure, everything's tight, everything's targeted, everything's they can kill 40 million people and everyone's like their hands are still clean. You know, they're like with their napkins at dinner time. You know, they're drinking their tea with their pinky up, as if nothing happened. You know, it's like a sanitary bloodbath. You know, that's the way Esav does it. Esav's like the cleanest in the world. You know, they all got their alcohol gel, you know, already. But meanwhile, you know, like they've killed a hell of a lot more people than the lobbyists. I've heard of lobbyists, but we'll call the Yishmaelim the lobbyists. The lobbyists, meaning they lob their wars randomly. You know, they like landing planes in tall towers, which is like that's a strange way to fight a war. Yeah, and they it's like some military victory to knock out a bunch of business people. It's like not, you know, but that's Yishmaelim. So the anyway, so we're saying it's Elokei Avraham is how God interacts via Chesed. Elokei Yitzchak is how God interacts via Gevurah. And after the 20 generations of Gevurah, of this, by the way, this is unrectified. It's not in Tikkun, meaning 20 generations, a lack of rectified Chesed, meaning all the improprieties of 20 generations went to Ishmael, and all the improprieties of violent type of behavior went to Esav, so that there could be a Yaakov, Elokei Yaakov. And Elokei Yaakov is the balance, that's Tiferes, that's the heart, and that's ultimately the balance that all of us seek, and it's the goal. It's the goal of everything. Really, the goal is to be in Tiferes. Ki b'Tiferes. So everything is meant to be in Tiferes. Our lives. You'll see that even if you're a total Chesed person, you're always stretching the Gevurah to get to Tiferes. If you're a Gevurah person, you're always stretching to Chesed to get to Tiferes. But Tiferes is where we're meant to be, and that's why Yisrael or Yaakov had 12 tribes, all of whom were, you know, you didn't have to have any more filtering processes. The 12 tribes. And now any filtering from there on in will be midos, filtering of their own personal midos in all the stories that will happen in the lives of the 12 tribes in the founding of Bnei Yisrael. All right, so we got to look now. Now we have Hakel, the God, and the word Kel is probably in Judaism the closest, meaning the very closest name to who God is obviously Atah. Our rabbis teach us that the four things we call God in a bracha, Atah, Hashem, Elokeinu, and Melech, King. Of all those four, the holiest is the word Atah, because it means essence. Essence. Because Atah, what is Atah? What's you? It's like, I don't know who I am. I mean, when you call me you, what is that? So that's the essence. But the second closest thing we could ever call God is Kel. Now, Kel means obviously I'm saying Kel because we pronounce the K in when we're in study, but it's really just Aleph Lamed, and that name of God means Takif. It means all powerful. It's the Almighty. It basically means the Almighty. Bali Yecholos. He can do everything. So. And then we're back to Chesed Gevurah Tiferes is Hakel Hagodol Hagibor V'Hanoira. Godol means Chesed, Gibor means Gevurah and or structure, and then Hanoira is Tiferes. But here it's expressed. Godol means he's the great God, but here it means the God of the expansion of the universe. Gevurah means the worlds. That's all the parallel universes that he. And Vanoya is how the between the expansion of the light and the Gevurah, the structure of the worlds, is the perfect balance of Tiferes for us to receive it, so that we don't get blown to smithereens by the light, or God forbid we lose the light because of too much parallel worlds that would remove the light too much. But all of that puts us in a state of awe, which is Noira, Hanoira. Hanoira means like just awesome, man, awesome. And so and that's realizing that God is like the most awesome, and then Kel Elyon is that God is the highest, the highest. And I'm thinking what that is in perspective to that He's the highest. Is that meaning He's the highest compared to all others, all other gods? And again, whenever we mention other gods, we're not talking about them as creators. What we're talking about is the powers that were invested in the creation by God, and so whenever we mention other gods, but Kel Elyon, God on high, or of the highest. It's very interesting. Now I'm looking at the words, and you know what it spells? Elyon is Aleph Lamed and then Yud Vav Nun, which is very interesting. That Al is on or above, and then Yud Vav Nun is Yavan, which is kind of interesting. The God that's over Greece. Yeah? And Greece represents, my wife just piped in that Greece represents the worship of nature. Yeah, and I never saw that before. Just because I'm giving this shir, I just realized it spells literally, Al Yavan, Kel Elyon, the God who's over Greece, meaning above all the Greek gods of nature. Anyway, weiter, going on. So, Goimel Chasodim Toivim, that God is Gomel, He's bestowing, He's flowing. Chasodim is kindnesses. And then Toivim means that they're the kindnesses that we actually like. Because whatever God bestows, it's always chesed. It's always chesed. Now it's hard, like in the middle of this coronavirus, it's hard to see it as chesed, considering all the, that it's been really rough in so many sectors. So this can be seen either as like, in a way, asking for the kind that actually feel good, or we can also be saying that, no, you should know that whatever God is gomel, whatever He's flowing down the pipes, because the word chesed again means flow. So whatever He's flowing down the pipe, it's all chasadim tovim. It's all chasadim tovim. Might take a few years to realize why it was good. I think a lot of people I've seen mention online, like, we're only going to know years from now what this all meant. Why we all had to go through this crazy period of time. But anyway, but that's the basic definition. Goimel Chasodim Tovim means He bestows kindness and good ones. Okay, they're good ones no matter what's going on. And then it's V'koine Hakol, and He's the one. And now the word kone can mean to form everything. He forms everything, but it also is a language of. I could use. I haven't watched today. It also means to be that He acquires everything. And what does that mean? How could we see it as He acquires everything? Kone hakol is that everything's His. Meaning whatever you own is His. Like, yeah, it feels like you own your car, or it feels like you own your watch, or it feels like you own your clothes. But, ultimately, God owns everything. He's kaineh hakayel. He already bought it. God's kaineh everything. He buys everything. And but another way of saying that is He's acquired everything you own already. It's all His. And everything you have is borrowed, including your own body. Everything's on lend from the kaineh. Okay? And again, koine usually means He forms everything. That's like the Pashup Pshat, is that He forms everything. But it also can be a language of buying everything. And that everything is His acquisition, it's His property, and we are just everything we have, including our own bodies and lives, are on lend here. V'zoiche chazdei avos, and he remembers the deeds of our fathers, and that's that's good news that God remembers the deeds of our fathers, because Lord knows you're a bum, and so I'm sure you're all doing your best, and it counts for a ton, because whenever you're doing your best, that counts all the way. I mean, if it's your best, then you did your job, basically. So I'm sure everyone's doing their best, but I imagine our great grandparents would have just laughed at where we're at. They would have. Maybe they'd cry. Actually, they'd be like, "What went wrong here?" I don't know. But I imagine that there's been some holy rollers in our families, and so God's remembering that. And what's He remembering it for? He's remembering it because of the redemption. Now, there's something that's not spoken about a lot, and that's that there's a Gemara, I forget where it is exactly, that there's a Gemara that says that the schus of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is finito. It's over. Yeah, I know it's not politically correct to talk about that, but Chazal seem to have no issue talking about that. Who from the Glazer family is awake? Someone from the Glazer family is on Zoom. Can you open up your camera so I can see you, please? Anyway, but there is actually a Chazal that says that the now my kids are crowding around to see who's the Glazer family. Hey, whoever is Glazer family, turn on your camera.
Maybe it's Adina. No, it's not.
You know who it is?
No.
We don't know who it is. Okay. Leah, you're on live in the whole world.
Oh, hi world. Okay.
Anyway, Zoiche Chazdei Avos is specifically important here, because if the forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, if their schus has run out, as Chazal say, so then remember, we only got in Eretz Yisrael the first time because of their schus. So if their schus has run out for us, so now we're stuck with but we're Zoiche Chazdei Avos. We're back to our own parents, meaning all the schus of our own parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and on the way back, we're relying on their schlios. Umevi goel, and he brings a redeemer, and I like that it's mevi, he's bringing, meaning this is all going on now. And you'll notice, by the way, a lot of people get stuck on the fact that we're waiting for we're waiting for Mashiach, as if we're like, that other religion that believes in their guy, We're not into the guy. We don't care that much who the guy is. We're interested in the era. For us, it's called Yamos HaMashiach, the era of Mashiach, the days of Mashiach. That's what we're interested in. We're looking for world peace. We're looking for getting along and brotherly love throughout the planet. You notice they never say sisterly love, because it's generally men who carry guns. Yeah. So this is Umevi Goyel, that he's bringing a redeemer, meaning this is one long process of redemption, and he's bringing it at all times. Leave Nevanehem to their children's children, meaning to our generation or the grandchildren's generation. Lama'an means for the sake of, which tells you anytime you have the word Lama'an, it means there's meaning in the world. Lama'an, there's a reason, meaning there's meaning, there's a point to it all. Lama'an. So, meaning, why is God bringing a redeemer? Well, it gives the answer. Laman Shemoy. Now, didn't we just say that we wanted world peace? Didn't we want, brotherly love? What is this Laman Shemoy? By the way, do you guys like the side natural light where it cuts off here and then it's dark? Is that cool effect? Or should I be facing this way from now on? Because I could sit on that side of my room. It's just that you'd see everyone in the kitchen. So.
You're good. We can see you.
I know, but it's, I'm from Hollywood. I see half my face is white and half is dark. It's like the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. It's like.
Avraham, Yitzchak,
Believe me, I thought, just being from LA, like I thought of like adding lights from this side, just to brighten up the other side of me. So tomorrow I'll be using makeup. So anyway, Umevi goya livnei v'nehem leman shemoy. It's all leman shemoy. It's all for him. Leman shemoy, for his sake. For his sake. So what's that supposed to mean? But let's go to Shabbos night. I mean, one of the very first things we say is Ata kidashtes yom Shabbos l'shmecha. You did all this l'shmecha. It was all for your name. Tachlis ma'aseh shemayim v'oretz. That Shabbos is the tachlis, the essential purpose of having created heaven and earth to begin with. It's like, what? Meaning us not being part of earth one day a week on Shabbos is the point of it all? Why'd you create the earth if the point of it all is just to be meditating on Yule for 24 hours of Shabbos? So I think, by the way, when's the last time any of you paid any attention to those lines? Those two lines are like the most important lines of all of Shmoneh Esrei Leil Shabbos. Ata kidashtes yom Shabbos l'shmecha. And now we're saying here that the whole point of redemption is Leman Shemoy. So what does this mean, Leman Shemoy? So it means a couple things.
Oh, whose watch is this?
We're doing a live feed right now. I love when someone just totally forgets and yells, whose watch is this? So, Leman Shemoy. Before God created the world, he existed in undifferentiated oneness. There were no names. God didn't have a name. Just like, if I put you in an MRI, let's say I put Gidon in an MRI. Yeah, we don't, on what do you call the guy, Yaakov, what do you call the guy who reads those things on the screen, whatever, that doctor who reads it on the screen while he's in the MRI. The image specialist. What? Don't worry about it.
Radiology.
Yeah.
Just his x-rays now.
He's the technician, the imager guy. Anyway, the technician's not going to see the word Gidon all over it. You understand? It's not going to say Gidon everywhere on the thing. Your name is not who you are. Okay? It's not. It hints if your parents named you that at your bris, so it's prophetic about you. But it's not who you are. Now, God, before he created the world, he exists in undifferentiated oneness. There are no names to God. Now, in creating the world, God employed names. He used names. Those names, all the names we have of God are verbs. They're all verbs, just how God shot creation into existence. Those are all verbs, ultimately, of action. They're action names. Yeah, but God himself isn't the names. So, now what happens to who God is? So if God's this undifferentiated oneness, and now he breaks that oneness down into, cuts it into names. So then those names now are all, so to speak, separateness, as opposed to the undifferentiated oneness. So now it's all, because everything's separate in this world. Like you can see all these bottles of booze up here. See all that booze? So those are all separate from one another. And my vest is separate than my shirt, and my undershirt's separate from me. And this tooth's separate than that tooth. And meaning that everything's separate. This hair follicle is separate from that one. All that's Shemos, because there's nothing but Shemos. God created the whole world out of Shemos. Everything's made of Shemos. That's all there is. There's only Shemos Hashem. And so there's ultimate distinction, ultimate separation. This is ultimate, like eating from the fruit of distinction. Because before Adam and Eve ate from that fruit, they saw the oneness around them. They saw the Shemos, but they saw them in a way that they reflected oneness. Meaning that when it says that Adam, the first primordial man could see from one end of the world to the other, what it meant was, it didn't mean he had a great pair of binoculars, okay? It meant he saw from one end, meaning where God's flowing existence, to the other where it like locks into, he saw a horse, or he saw a dog, or he saw a tree, or he saw a meadow, or he saw whatever he was seeing. He was able to see it like literally come down the worlds until it locked into that particular being. And then he named those beings. And then it says, and then the Torah emphasizes, and whatever he called them, Shmohu, like that was its name. Like he got it on the nose every time. God was like, bingo, 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 meaning you actually named the essence of the thing. Whereas when we call something, it doesn't mean anything. Like if right now I'm drinking water. Yeah, I'm drinking Mayade. Yeah, I'm drinking Mayade, the water of the Garden of Eden. So I'm drinking now Mayade. But its water is Germanic from the word Wasser. It's just a symbol. It doesn't mean water. Molecularly, in Hebrew, it's H2O, which means two H's and one oxygen, which is two mems and a yud, mayim. Yeah, mayim is water, and it's the essence. It's the essential language of reality. It's why the sun is two shins, which are carbon, burnt like fire, carbon, two shins, with a mem in the middle, with a hydrogen in the middle, meaning it's a burning ball of hydrogen. Shemesh is a burning ball of hydrogen. And, leave it to God to know exactly, how to name, or Adam probably named, I don't know. Maybe Adam named literally everything, but it's God's names. But the names of God get broken up into creation. Now let's do the gematria of Shmo. Shmo is Shin, which is 300. Mem is 40. That's 340, and Avav is a 6. So that's 346. Okay, what else equals 346? Well, let's look at this name. It's actually it's not just a name, but it's the actual beginning and ultimate, the ultimate name of the ultimate thing of all of creation, and it's called Keser or Keter, which is the crown of before the 10 spheros. The crown is above the spheros, meaning it's above Chacham Bin and Das. It's like the link of God to creation. And what is Keser? It's called Ratzon, meaning God's Ratzon to create a world. Because before everything is Ratzon. Before the Brooklyn Bridge is the Ratzon for people from Brooklyn to get to Manhattan quicker. Okay, before an airplane is the Ratzon of people to get from one place to another quicker. Ratzon is the beginning of all of creation. So that's called Ratzon. Let's do the gematria of Ratzon. Reish is 200. Tzadik is 90, that's 290. Vav is 6, that's 296. And Nun is 50. What did we get to? 346. 346 is the exact gematria of Shemoi, Ratzon. Meaning God's Ratzon for creation is the same numerical value as Shemoi. Because Shemoi, the Ma'an Shemoi, in honor of his Ratzon. What's his Ratzon? His Ratzon is that we chap, that everything we're seeing is part of this oneness. That all these shemos are the shemos that before Adam ate from the fruit and everything like got locked down to physicality. So now the names are all, we've lost access to God inside all of the names. So now, Leman Shemoi is in honor of his Ratzon, in honor of us, that God's bringing redemption. He's bringing a goyel to the grandchildren. He's bringing redemption to the grandchildren. By remembering the merits of our fathers, he's bringing redemption to the grandchildren. Lama'an, for the sake of his name which got broken up into creation. And that's why we say, Bayom Hahu Yeh Shem Echad Ushmo Echad. That we say that when God will be finally the melech al kol haaretz, not Trump, and not Netanyahu, and not all the other people, and I wouldn't even know who they are. Yeah. I seem to only know two heads of state at any given time. Oh no, Putin I know. And I'm sure I know another, but I can't figure out any other at this point. Anyway, but God will be melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, on that day when God's finally melech al kol haaretz, yihyeh, it will be that Hashem, who's always one above, ushmo echad, and down below, that will all become one. And then what's the last word? Laman shemoy, for the sake of his name. By the way, you can draw your own conclusions about Shabbos. Why Shabbos is the tachlis. And that the whole point of it, takadashtish yom HaShabbos lishmecha. Takidashtish yom HaShabbos lishmecha. That God did sanctified Shabbos for his name, because during the weekdays we're so, I'll help you draw a conclusion. He sanctified Shabbos because during the weekdays God gets jealous because we're all so busy, busy doing a million things, we get all distracted. So at least one day a week we get undistracted, and let God be the point of it all. Now, maybe good, and the last word is be'ahava. In love. For the sake of his name, meaning his name that's broken up into physicality, in love. What does it mean, love? In love. Now, first of all, love's the only word that has no definition in the world. I've heard many great people botch it. And I'll tell you a great way never to botch a definition of love, in case anyone ever asks you what love means. A great way to keep yourself from botching it is say love has no definition. But I watched, I think, maybe the smartest man I've ever seen in our generation, at least amongst the Goyim, Jordan Peterson. Someone asked him a question about love. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was during questions and answers where everyone always roars after he answers. But it was like, you missed it. Anyway, it was just a horrible definition. And but I've also heard rabbis try to define it. Bad idea. There's two things that have no definition: God and love. God has no definition. Love has no definition. And here we're being told that the whole point was God, who's had his name scattered into physicality, that it should all be ba'ahava. But there's a hint, something about love, and there's a hint about God. One is that God is one. That's why there's no definition, because you can't. It doesn't have distinction. How do you define something with no distinction? If it's one, it lacks all distinction, and therefore you cannot define it. And the other word is the word ahava is one, right? Aleph is one. Hey is 5. That's 6. Plus bet is 2. That's 8. And hey is 5. That's 13. And so the word 13, ahava, is both ahava, and it's also the word echad, one, which is aleph is 1, ched is 8, that's 9, plus dalet is 4, that's 13. So one in love, same thing. That's what Bob Marley said. One love. Yeah. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. Anyway, I think we're going to end it there, considering it's exactly 4 o'clock. And really appreciate you guys joining me on Zoom. I'll be on, looks like we'll be on each day. And keep rocking, everybody. Everyone stay safe. Listen to what the doctors say. Remember that something people forget. Rob Berkowitz was talking about it yesterday, that it's when you're keeping yourself from germifying other people, you're doing a kindness. Because if you happen to be carrying the virus, you're as we know, we don't know necessarily that you're a carrier. So if you're a carrier, God forbid, but you're at least not infecting other people who could be affecting other people, So this whole lockdown that's slowly locking down is is, by honoring it, you're ultimately, and it shouldn't last too long, but the lockdown part is a kindness. And so I've been totally, basically staying clear of anybody, just staying out of it. So, what'd you say? I couldn't read your whole note. Kyle, he said we're not taking.
I was saying, just pointing out that, the Shalom, right? That.
Oh, I'll read it. You want me to read it?
Shabbos.
The Nesilas Shalom
No, I
boils.
was just saying,
Yeah, you want to read it? Okay. Well, maybe I'll read it so my other people listening on Facebook can hear it. Yeah? Nesiva Shalom boils down Shabbos to the prime way to connect to Hashem. The essence of Shabbos is Devekus and Avos Hashem. Therefore, Hashem created Shabbos for His name as a day that we can connect to Him and relate to Him different than any other day of the week. We are not taking precautions because we are scared out of our
that's
wits.
the quote from Roberta there.
Roberto says, we are not taking precautions because we're scared out of our wits. We are taking precautions because we recognize our responsibility to others. Shkoyeka. Very nice. Gidon said, it took coronavirus for me to be able to attend one of Rav Glazer's shurim. Well, since we're mentioning it, I'll also mention after 5 years of arguing, although I gave up a year or two ago, it took 5 years to get Asia. It took the coronavirus to get Asia Essentials to go live. Sorry, shouldn't have said it. I've been holding back this whole time. Okay, shalom everybody. Bye bye. Slacha. Bye bye. I'm a troublemaker. I know. Sorry.
You need to turn it up.
אתה נראה טוב.
חשבתי את נקסטון.
אתה לא צריך לעצור את זה?
You had to say that in
Oh, I kept this on. Sorry. Christine, I liked all your comments, by the way. I know these names. I know Bass people. I know Cummings people. Okay. Shalom, everybody. Let's see any other comments. More Christine comments about this one. Stephen Burke. Oh my gosh. Jack, where the hell are you? I'm always asking Jack, where are you? Jack, where have you been? Jack, please send me a little, just catch up to me what's going on with you. Hi, Adam. Adam Starr, unbelievable. David Kapolsky, of course. Sharon Esther is watching. Hey, wow.
Oh, wow.
Say hi to Sharon Esther. This is just my Facebook Live feed. Sharon Esther. You can update me too, Sharon Esther, on what you were dealing with before. David Hirsch watching. Michael Epstein. Michael Hain. Brooks. Jim Bars. Okay, everybody. Shalom. I'm cutting out. I'm going back to the fam. Bye-bye. Shalom. If you enjoyed watching this, well, watch some more. Send it, click it, forward it, join it, subscribe to it. Keep coming on and joining me in this amazing movement to make a big difference in the world. And the biggest thing you can do of all is to join the YomTovMediaClub.com. Please go online, YomTovMediaClub.com.